Yo, what's going on, peeps? It's the Flying Pig here on Flying Pig United with another cheeky little stream for you. We're here for the transfer news of this day, Sunday, the 8th of June, 2025. How are we all doing today? Thank you for joining aboard the Bacon Express. Hope you're having a great Sunday so far, and we've got plenty to discuss in regards to today's goings-on at Manchester United. We're going to cover it over the next however long. Let's go. Do us a favour at the start of the show. Smash that like button on it. You know it makes sense. Hit the thumbs up. Give us a share wherever you can. You can repost us on X. The link is pinned at the top of the live chat there. Give us a cheeky little repost. Oh, you know it makes sense. And of course, if you're new to the channel, get yourself subscribed. Get in the chat. Get your thoughts and opinions in. We'll be dipping in and out the chat throughout the show. And of course, we'll have a Q&A at the end. Big up everyone in here. Matthias, Tobias, Mace Windex, Robert, Aaron. How you doing there? Burber, you legend. Howdy, my friend. Mace, Daz, Salford. Let's go. Mace, Aaron, Tim, Bobby, Simon, and everybody else who's in here. Thank you very much for joining us and getting in here. You're a bunch of legends. Right. Manchester United looking like we're going to be doing some business in the coming hours. We'll see. Obviously, we'll see. It could be tomorrow. But the expectation right now is that United are going to get this deal agreed with Brentford before the sort of mini international, not international, but Club World Cup break. Obviously, there's a little break in the transfer window. So it's up until the 10th. That gives us literally 48 hours to get this deal done. Now, I'm feeling like it's obviously going to be expedited. Manchester United trying to speed things up, get this done before that window shuts. That's absolutely paramount. So there is a possibility, I suppose, that it happens today. We've been thinking it'll be over the last 48 hours. It's taken a little bit longer. It's a little bit concerning. I'll give you that. It's a little bit concerning, guys, just simply because, well, the whole situation with Tottenham. Now, obviously, there's a lot of speculation about Tottenham and Mbeumo and all that sort of stuff. Most of it's been debunked by the likes of Fab, etc. But it is a little bit concerning. You know, if you have a new manager like Thomas Frank going into Spuds to replace Ange Postecoglou, and he's obviously just finished managing Bryan Mbeumo, maybe he would want to go and try and pinch him. You know, crazier things have happened. It's a little bit concerning, but I don't think we've got too much to worry about there. End of the day, it's Spurs. But we are a 15th place side at the minute. That's where we just finished in the league. Spurs, they did finish 17th, but they did win that Europa League final against us, which means that they have Champions League football. So in terms of like what they can offer Bryan Mbeumo, I guess it's quite similar to Manchester United, except they've got Champions League football, which is a bit of a concern. But we're not going to talk about this just yet until there's a little bit more, until there's any sort of real concrete information about, you know, Thomas Frank actually going in, you know, to Spurs officially. Obviously, it's about to happen, isn't it? Spurs are about to get him as a new coach. But also, let's face it, Thomas Frank could have had that conversation with Levy beforehand and just simply said, yeah, get him in. If we can get him in, get him in. Even though he's not there. You know, even though he's not there, obviously he's going to be there. So if he knows that, if the player knows that, if everybody knows that, obviously even if he's not there, they could actually still try and pinch him. So it's a little bit worrying, guys. It's a little bit worrying. Just because it makes sense, doesn't it? If you're Thomas Frank going into a new team, what a great way to get a good signing that you already know in there, who bagged 20 goals and 8 assists in the last year. It's actually quite a good thing to do if you're Thomas Frank. It makes sense. Spurs, though, they don't like to spend a lot of money. You know, they don't like to spend a lot of money on either transfer fees or, of course, wages, even compared to what Manchester United do. So, you know, I'm not too worried about it, guys. I still think Manchester United is where he's going to end up. Let's ask the live chat for a bit of fun. Where do you think Mbeumo's going to sign? Where do you think he's going to sign? But honestly, I think the deal's going to be done today, if not today, tomorrow. You know, there's literally only a short amount of time left of this little transfer window before it closes for a short break, and then it reopens again, you know, not too long after. But, yeah, Daz Sweet says, I think the Spurs story is nonsense. Well, I do to a degree as well, because, like I say, Spurs don't like to spend a lot of money like that. We're talking about 60+ million, and also the wages would be quite high to convince him to go there as well. But if Thomas Frank is being appointed, Thomas Frank just managed Brentford. You have to say there's, you know, there's obviously some basis for it, maybe. Very much doubt that it's going to happen because we pretty much got the deal all done, haven't we? I'm not worried about it, guys. I mean, at the end of the day, Mbeumo said that he wants to play for Manchester United. He's agreed personal terms with Manchester United, and we've just got to finalise a few little ironed out details there with Brentford before it's sort of formal, before there's an actual agreement in place between the clubs. But yeah, I agree to a degree. I agree to a degree. I mean, part in the back of my head thinks, if I was Thomas Frank, if I was Tottenham, I'd try and pinch him. But, there's not any movement or anything like that going on just as of yet. Thomas Frank's not even their manager yet. Remember that as well. Thomas Frank's not through the door. But it looks like he is. And as I say, I guess they could have a cheeky little conversation to say, I'm incoming. Let's try and snatch Bryan Mbeumo. That's definitely possible. Big ups from Geneva there, Paul Warby. How you doing? Rinaldi as well, getting there, you legends. How you doing? Luan, France, let's go. Legends getting in it. If you're just getting in it, guys, do us a favour and hit the thumbs up button. Every little like helps push out the stream there and helps us on the YouTube algorithm and all that jazz. Give us a thumbs up. Also subscribe and have your say in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Well, Niraj, actually, this is a little bit better for us than usual, isn't it? So, usually we're pretty atrocious, but at least we've got Matheus Cunha agreed, and we are very close to getting this Bryan Mbeumo deal done as well. Could be today. So let's try and remain positive. Let's try and remain positive about it. But as I was saying, personal terms agreed. I mean, there's a report here that says that United offered Bryan Mbeumo around £150,000 to with add-ons, taking the package up to about £200,000 a week. So we've established that it's probably in that range anyway, 150 to 200,000. Tottenham want to hijack the move, but will only offer around 130,000 a week. This is just from Transfer News Live on Twitter. It's probably just, so obviously this is just speculative reports about Tottenham. But end of the day, yeah, they don't like to pay players as much as we do they? And they won't. So I think we're safe with Bryan Mbeumo, to be fair. Although, the whole Thomas Frank and Champions League football thing does make it a little bit interesting. I think it originally came from the Mirror, this story. Just to be clear, we know the Mirror. So take it with a massive pinch of salt. But yeah, Thomas Frank is set to replace Andy Postecoglou as Tottenham boss. Wants Spurs to rival Manchester United for the signing of Bryan Mbeumo. Yeah, sure. Nice one, the Mirror. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Okay. So, there's no worries really here, guys. I'm not too worried. I think he's going to sign for Manchester United. It'll probably be in the next 24 hours. So just keep yourself locked and loaded there, my friends. He will be coming in for just over £60 million. It would be the second big signing of the summer for Manchester United already, which is pretty impressive considering where we finished and how gash we looked and the troubles and the trials and tribulations that we had this season. Get those couple of guys in, and then obviously then it's time to turn our attentions to bringing in hopefully Viktor Gyokeres, and we've got a little bit more information on this. Not too much in terms of Gyokeres' end of things, but there are reports coming out that Arsenal are closing in on Benjamin Sesko. So this is from Florian Plettenberg just before the stream. That says that the feeling around a possible deal between Benjamin Sesko and Arsenal remains very positive. There's no full agreement yet, but the next round of talks is already scheduled. Mikel Arteta's keen on the 22-year-old striker. Leipzig are waiting for an official offer. Price tag 80 to 100 million. What? Arsenal are smoking crack. Mikel Arteta is on one. Why does he want Benjamin Sesko for all this amount of money? The guy's off his heed. But I'm all for it, guys. I'm all for it. Hopefully this means that we'll end up getting him, getting Gyokeres, that is. And also a bit more from Marco Alcaraz, just says that Arsenal are closing in on an agreement with RB Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko, which could see them shift their attention away from Man United target Viktor Gyokeres. So obviously there was speculation that Arsenal would also been talking to the Gyokeres camp and also had that interest in him, perhaps if that Sesko deal could not be done. It does seem like Arsenal's main focus up the top there is for Sesko, which does leave Gyokeres free for us to go and sign, doesn't it? But the expectation right now is that Man United are not going to be working on Gyokeres until after this little mini transfer window break. So the transfer window breaks up in a couple of days. Then is it the 16th that it readjourns? I can't quite remember now. But whenever it comes back around, that's when United are probably going to be, working more so on the Gyokeres deal, because obviously there is this break. there is this break. There will be still some discussions and movements behind the scenes even during that period, but it's obviously nothing's going to be announced or anything until that one's happening. Hey, what's going on there, Tribicram? Thank you so much. He says, Piggy grinding hard. Let's go, mate. Oh, thank you very much, mate. Nice one. Yeah, well, we're just covering all the news, mate, the latest goings on. I mean, obviously, there's not that much news today to discuss, but we're jumping on every lunchtime to sort of discuss the morning's news and all the latest little tidbits and bits and bobs. And then, obviously, we'll be back on tonight as well. But absolutely, there's also the UEFA Nations League final tonight, which we're going to be doing a watch-along for, so come and join us for that, you legend. Thank you, Tribicram. I appreciate the positive vibes, mate. Get some love in there for him. Tobias, do you think Gyokeres is safe to join us? Safe to join us? What does that mean? But I think he would be quite keen on joining us, yes, because of Amorim, because of the size of the club. Obviously, the money's going to be amazing compared to what he's getting now as well. But there's still possibility other clubs could go in for him, isn't there? But I think we've got a good chance of getting him. My likeliness of him going to United is increasing by the day, I feel, with some of the other news that's happening. But it's very early in the window, remember. So you can't really say too much too soon because there's lots of stuff that can happen. It's known that Gyokeres is just sort of weighing things up at the moment. There will be plenty of offers, I think, being laid on his table, so to speak. So probably some decision-making time for him. But as of right now, you know, if you believe the reports, it's United who are the most serious about trying to sign him right now. It's United who are in the driving seat to sign him right now. So, feeling positive about that as well, more so than I was a few days ago. But we'll see. Hello there, the Hoff. What's going on, you legend? I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Club World Cup thing's going to be gash. Oh, I know. Ugh. We might do some watch-alongs for it. I mean, I don't know, guys. Smash a one if you think I should. If you think I should do the whole tournament. Bit crazy, though, isn't it? Bit crazy. Some of those games are going to be gash. Blue Moon, what's going on? Oh, really? 80 likes, only 65 for me. Thank you very much for everyone who's hit the like button, though. But yes, do continue to do that. Cheers for that, lad. Yep, McTominay and Gyokeres, that'd be sick. Sully Griffin, how you doing today, lad? Fabrizio Romano, more like Pigrizio Pork Mano. Mate, thank you very much there, Sully. Not so much. We just sort of report on what mostly these main sort of journalists or the sort of big corporations are suggesting. But also we do have a couple of little contacts here and there who give us bits of information about Manchester United. So, yeah, but not on that level, Sonny, no, mate. Definitely not on that level at all, lad. Agrippa Chin Harris says, thank you so much, Sonny. Is Tottenham in for Gyokeres? I don't think so, mate, at the moment. I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? Obviously, they're going to get a new coach. So we don't really know what his idea is in regards to what he wants to do at Tottenham. Like I said, if it was down to me and if I was Thomas Frank, then I probably would be trying to go and pinch the likes of Mbeumo and Gyokeres. Those are great signings, aren't they, for whoever? And if you can get hold of them, brilliant. And they finished 17th in the league. They have Champions League football, though, so maybe they could just bring in a player like that. They've actually won a major European trophy. So, they're in the Super Cup, all that sort of business. It's more appealing. It makes it appealing. So I doubt it because, let's face it, as I said earlier, Spurs don't spend as much money as United. They also don't pay as much as United. So quite possible that they will go in for him, but also I don't think that's going to be the case. Piggy, get Timo Shafter to negotiate Højlund to Arsenal. Oh, mate, let's just before we get on actually back to that stuff. Let's just talk about that Højlund stuff for a second. So there is some Højlund quotes today. Let's have a look at it. This is what it is, and this is basically what's been said in regards to his current situation at the football club. Let me just clear that out of the way. But Rasmus has been speaking. Obviously, there's been international games. He's been talking. He said, I have a contract until 2030, so I expect to play for Manchester United. I'm looking forward to going on a summer vacation, and then I'm fully dedicated to the project that's underway. I know I can't get much out of reading things. I know what the facts are, and that is that I have a contract with Manchester United until 2030. I expect to play there. So I'm just getting ready for some summer vacation and then hopefully a good pre-season. See you later on, Gashmus Boylan, lad. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, what's this? Contract till 2030? 30? Nah. I'm not having that. I mean, I think we've got to try and sell him this summer, don't we? Interest from maybe some clubs in Italy, maybe a loan move, who knows? Certainly we should loan him for a year, at the very least. If we can't sell him, which we should be able to, for 35, 40 million, but if we can't sell him, then a loan move makes a little bit of sense here for Gashmus Boylan. End of the day, he could develop into a decent player, but come on. We can't rely on this mount at the top of the pitch to score goals. Plus, we need to kind of make some room in terms of that position anyway, because Chido Obi's better as well. Chido Obi's better than Højlund, or has more potential maybe. So what's the point of having Højlund there as well as the likes of, if we're getting Gyokeres, and of course we still got Chido Obi. There's even talks about other players, like maybe a cheeky little Vissa or a Mateta or, whoever. There's still lots of other links as well. Rasmus Højlund is not really going to do the job for us. We've looked at him for a couple of seasons. He scored very few goals. He's looked very weak in terms of his overall intelligence up the top of the pitch there. His overall movement for us has been gash. He's just a bit of a headless chicken. He doesn't have that natural flair, I don't think, to score goals. You can see a natural goal scorer a mile off, can't you? Think about like when Mason Greenwood was coming through. You could just tell Mason Greenwood has an eye for a goal. He can put the ball in the back of the net. He's a finisher. He has a natural ability to do so. Yes, you can obviously hone your skills and learn and get experience, movement. All of that sort of stuff's brilliant. That will improve you, definitely. Højlund will be a better player in 5 years than he is now, I'm sure of it. However, there is a natural ability you can just see. Rasmus Højlund doesn't have that natural ability at all, does he? No, not at all, unfortunately. So, yeah, we've seen what we've seen from him. It's quite a frustrating time. He wants to stay. Well, not necessarily wants to stay. No, I should reword that. But he's just reiterated that he has a contract and he's fine to stay. He's fine to stay. He's not mentioned anything about his future. He's simply said that he doesn't get much out of reading things. Obviously saying that, I'm pretty sure that means that, obviously he's reading things in regards to where he's linked to, moves, transfers, clubs, all that sort of stuff. Doesn't read that. Not that he's not reading books, because, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't read books either. Do you know what I'm saying? But anyway, no, he seems a nice lad. He seems an intelligent lad. All I'm saying is, Rasmus Højlund, not the guy for us. We've got to try and get somebody else. Obviously, he wants to play football, I'm sure. He's a young guy. He's got a contract till 2030 at United. That's 5 years. 5 years left of Rasmus Højlund potentially. But anyway, we'll be working on him going out. Again, as of right now, folks, to give you the update, or not so much an update, is that there are no, offers in for this guy at the moment for Manchester United. There is no offers on the table. There's been some talks. We've heard that Inter perhaps want him, but perhaps on a loan. So there's been some talks, but nothing concrete at all. What is going on with my YouTube app today? Smash a 1 if anybody else's YouTube app is sharting the bed on them and keeps going back to the start. Anyway, weird. But anyway, maybe it's just me. Nice, we smashed 100 likes. Oh, thank you, Luan, for the update there. Thank you, everybody who's given us a big like spike. You can do us a favour and continue to like the video if you're just joining us, and also subscribe if you're new, lad. Alex says Portugal or Spain tonight to win. I'm going for Portugal, mate. Portugal, yeah. I know Spain are very, very talented as well, but just got a feeling Portugal going to do the business, lad. Cheeky Cristiano Ronaldo brace. You know what I'm saying? Bobby says, why are United so slow to make deals? Well, because now Thomas Frank and Tottenham are coming in to sign Mbeumo. That's why. I'm joking. Nah, we just notoriously are, aren't we? To be fair, it does take a little bit of time to get the negotiations done. So, we actually didn't mess around too much with this Mbeumo deal, in my humble opinion. We went in with a £55 million combined offer early doors, 45 up front, 10 down the line. That is, or extra added bonuses, I should say. So that is a pretty sensible offer to begin with. That's not lowballing anyone, is it? That's a fair offer, and they wanted a lot more. Fair enough, a fair bit more, as they would. And then you've got to meet them in the middle. So there's negotiations obviously have to take place. Plus, it's not just that. The structure of the deal, could be a certain amount paid over a couple of years, etc. Could be clauses in the contract that they have to iron out. Player bonuses, i.e. if this player hits this amount of appearances or whatever, then you get X amount of money. There's lots of different things you have to figure out. So they're working on that, lad. It won't be far away, though, but they're absolutely working on that. Spain, you're going for Spain. Yeah, who do you reckon's going to win that one? It's a tough one. They're both really, really good sides. Spain are a pretty epic team, to be fair. Why are United not in for Kepa? Surely he has price tag value for money and he would prefer to be number one instead of a backup goalie. Is that a serious question, Stuart? I'm not a huge lover of Kepa, I'll be honest, mate. I don't really like his personality either. Was Kepa the one who refused to come off the pitch when Sarri was the manager at Chelsea and he refused to come off when he tried to sub on a different keeper? Or am I thinking of somebody else now? I forget. But either way, now Kepa's not the answer for our number one spot. To be fair, I'd take him as a number two, but we don't really need him as a number two. We've already got Bayende, he'll do for number two. You know, what we need to do is get rid of Andre Onana this summer and sign a proper baller of a keeper. We are linked to a couple of different keepers as well. But, no, I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I mean, remember, that they're just trying to get him for £5 million as a backup. That's realistic for Kepa. I don't think he's good enough to be our number one. I wouldn't feel any more confident, really, going into the Premier League campaign. Maybe a little bit more confident, but I wouldn't feel much more confident going into the Premier League campaign, you know, with Kepa as our keeper instead of Onana, to be fair. Yeah. Exactly, Fletch, I agree with you. Yep, Levy will not give Mbeumo that wage. I agree with you, boss. Yep, exactly. Probably just Garnacho, really, Charlie. He can generate 45 million, 50 million. We know that he's leaving. Probably just him, in all fairness. I think Gyokeres is available for about £60 million. So it's not a crazy amount more, is it, to add to it? But yeah, I mean, obviously we'll be trying to move on a few players here. Where am I? So yes, Højlund potentially, you know, has this contract out. Maybe would be okay to stay. I don't want to get him. I don't want to get him in the team next season. We have to move him on. So hopefully we bring in, you know, some other sort of backup forward to go along with Gyokeres and Chido Obi. That could be very decent. Other than that, you know, it's just one of those players I'm just thinking it's just such a waste of time at the football club, signed by Erik ten Hag for 73 million, fallen by the wayside, absolutely rubbish. Just classic shite. Absolute classic shite. Okay, so, you know, slow news day until Mbeumo's expected to be announced sometime either later today or maybe tomorrow, but before the window shuts would be nice. Don't worry about the Tottenham thing. I think that's just speculative guff. You know, we've heard reports that Thomas Frank wants him, but end of the day, it's going to take a little bit more money than what they like to pay to get him in there, both in terms of transfer fees and in terms of wages. So don't worry, guys. He's only coming to Manchester United. Why are we selling Rasmus first instead of keeping him and sell Rashford and Sancho? Rashford and Sancho, much more difficult transfers to make, though. They have to be wanted for a start by a team, and let's face it, Sancho in particular is a bit of a bad egg. He's not necessarily the most wanted player. He's also pretty bang average. Chelsea gave him back to us and paid us £5 million to give him back, remember. That's the sort of guy we're talking about here. He's not easy to sell. His contract is guff. He's on huge wages. For Sancho, he's probably quite happy to just sit there for another year, take his fat £300,000 a week, and just chill and not really worry too much, obviously, about playing first-team football. That's the sort of impression that I get. And if he is going to leave Man United this summer, it'll probably be in a loan capacity where the team that's taking him on is only realistically going to pay like 50% of his wages, somewhere in that region, because he's on such big money. So United can get him off the books and can get him out on loan, but who's going to actually buy Sancho? We talked about Saudi teams, but even they would be crazy to go and get him now, when in literally a year's time, they can just go and get him for nothing. Well, not nothing. They'd have to pay him a huge wage, but literally get him for nothing. It's easier for them to get him, basically. They probably could get him for a lot less cash in terms of his wages in a year's time as well. Let's be real. If Sancho's a free agent tomorrow, never mind a free agent for next summer, which is when his contract actually finishes, United. Let's just say Sancho's a free agent tomorrow, and somebody can sign him on a free. How much do you think they'll offer him in terms of wages, guys? This is a great question. Let's ask the live chat. How much do you think they'd offer him in terms of wages, right? Okay, he would be wanted by some clubs on a free, I'm sure. He's 25, English, homegrown, all the rest of it. But you know what? It would probably be maximum, even then, closer to half of what he's currently getting paid at Manchester United. That's why Sancho is such a terrible signing for us. That's why he's such a difficult player to get rid of. Because even if he was a free, teams would not see the value in paying anywhere near what we pay him in terms of wages. So probably 150k is the most he could get from any football club, really, honestly. He'd have to prove himself, I think. So we gave him a ridiculous bumper contract that was just way too large for the player that he is, and now he's impossible to get rid of because of that. And also, like you said, Rashford is another one we're working on. Well, that's the similar sort of situation there. He's on 350k a week, so it's difficult for clubs to be able to actually afford that. Yeah, Marcus Rashford, he's keen to move to Barca. Nothing more on Marcus, really, from a few days ago, which is that Barca do have that interest in him. So £40 million is the expected amount of money United would be looking for. I think that could happen, but it's a slow burner. Long negotiations for those sorts of deals, in terms of the player side of things as well. Wages are an issue. The deal with United is an issue. If certain clubs don't want to sign our players and pay them, all of the money that they're expected to get, and the player, if we want to get rid of that player, then we kind of have to say, maybe we'll pay X amount. And all these things need to be worked out. It's an absolute nightmare. So it's just our own stupid fault for signing these players for ridiculous money and paying them so much. Jose wants Sancho, come and get him, lad. But again, there's no way on earth Jose gets Sancho unless Sancho goes and plays for Jose for, a lot less money. They're not going to be able to afford £300,000 a week, mate. And it's just economics, isn't it? And for me, Sancho would be a fool to stay at Manchester United and collect £300,000 a week in a way. Because it's a World Cup year and he should have ambitions to try and get back into the setup and play in the World Cup. But he doesn't have that sort of ambitions. He's more interested in collecting the cash. And don't get me wrong, it's a lot of cash. Well, nobody at the moment Agrippa Chinhara, but there are links to, people like Wharton, Palhinha, even I've seen links for, so that'd be interesting. Sancho, Rashford, 305 for 350 while enjoying a season of PlayStation. Precisely, that's what I mean. It's just crazy money. So anyway, you guys are saying how much would Sancho get in terms of wages if he was a free agent tomorrow? 120k, you say 130. Good question, 75k max. £2.50. 300k a week he wants, so I'd imagine 120k. Exactly. Yep, 120k. Isaac earns 120k. Precisely, exactly there, guys. So a lot of money we're talking here, guys, obviously, that he's paid way more than... Can you imagine that we actually did that? That deal's ridiculous for Jadon Sancho, one of the most sickening bits of business this football club's ever done, actually. Because nobody would pay him 150k tomorrow if he was free. Yes, Luca Main. Let's go, Luca Main. By the way, once again, guys, if you're just getting in the stream, hit that like button on it. We're nearly at 150 likes. Help us get to 150. Also, get yourself subscribed. We're on here daily, nightly, all the time with the latest Manchester United transfer news as and when it happens and the latest updates and community vibes. So do get yourself involved by smashing that subscribe button, clicking that bell icon and having your say. Didn't we also have this issue with Memphis Depay? He wanted an absurd wage. Pretty much a lot of players that we've signed during that whole era, the Woodward, Arnold, Guffo era at Manchester United got paid more than they should have been paid. Facts. And also a lot of the contract extensions that took place, people were paid a lot more. Just remember, before Phil Jones retired, he was on £100,000 a week. Just let that sink in for a second. Phil Jones, injury-prone melter, was given a big bumper long few-year contract extension for 6 figures. That just shows you how shite United are in terms of transfer wages and structure and all that sort of thing. Remember, we had a deal with Casemiro when he first came in, and he's getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. We've got a 30-odd-year-old, older fellow who is a good player, but probably isn't really long for playing for United, if we're being honest, who's going to leave us on a free eventually, and he's taken shitloads of money out of the club. It's like we've destroyed ourselves with some of the signings we made in the past, and we're still feeling the effects of it. It will be a good few years until the effects of that are gone. Like we talked about, we need to get a better wage structure at Manchester United, so we don't want to sign players for £300,000 a week anymore. That's crazy. We have to just look at players who realistically want to come and play for us for a reasonable amount of money. We're not that team that's a Galactico team at the moment. We're not challenging for Champions Leagues and Prems. So we have to be realistic with our structure. Unfortunately, there's still some players on ridiculous contracts at United who are not going anywhere because of their contracts, but eventually they will, and once they have left, we should hopefully have a much better, more sensible wage structure in place there. They really do, Dan Salford, mate, they really do. The wage structure of this football club is nothing short of a joke. It is insane. There's not even any real justification for it. Like, you should be able to justify a player's wage. But if half the players in the team, you can't really justify their wage. Some of them you can. I get why Bruno's one of the highest paid players You know, I get that. He's the captain. He's one of our best players. He actually puts in decent stats. But, you know, I don't understand why Luke Shaw's paid what he's paid. You know, for instance, it's crazy. Mate, thank you so much, Jono. He says, great show, Pig. One of my favourites, mate. Good work. Oh, thank you, Jono. You're such a lad. Thank you so much for that there, Jono. Get some love in there. That's very nice. I feel like I'm having a shit show today, mate. Because I'm so super tired here. I've only just woken up, mate. Let me have another sip of my coffee here, guys. Oh, yeah. That's good stuff. I feel like I'm having a jelly brain show today, lad. But thank you so much for that, Jono. Maybe it's just where I'm tired. Appreciate you, Jono. Godzilla, how you doing, Godzilla? He comments, do we really think Mbeumo is worth 65 million or whatever and 250k per week? Madness. I don't think he's getting 250k per week. Don't worry about that, Godzilla, lad. I know that figure's been bandied around. That's a crazy figure. Look, this is much more realistic. Look at this, lad. This is much more realistic. I'll pop that up the top there just for a second. Manchester United have offered Mbeumo around 150,000 a week with add-ons, taking the package up to 200,000 a week. So it's got add-ons, remember. Remember, it could be performance-based, i.e. big goal bonus or something like that. That's how it should be. Those are the sorts of salaries we should be giving out. You know, slightly lesser on the base and more so in terms of incentives. Nothing wrong with that. These players shouldn't have a problem with that. They might have the potential to earn more if they do really well. That's what you should have. Performance-based bonuses makes a lot of sense. So I hope it's around about 150k and then maybe a few K in terms of goal bonuses and stuff like that. But even if it is 200k a week, considering some of the signings that we've made and some of the salaries we've paid, it's still in keeping with the sort of player that he is. It's a big boost for him, coming from Brentford, obviously. It's hard to, you know, imagine a 4-time salary increase, but that's sort of what it could be to 200,000. But Man United's not just a 4 times bigger club, it's a many times over bigger club than Brentford. And he's coming in to be a star player, first teamer. There's a lot that comes with being a Manchester United player. The amount of interviews you have to do, the brand deals and guff like that, the extra stuff that comes with it. It's going to be more money at United, definitely. So I don't think, if it's 150 to 200, I don't think it's anything crazy. Look, if it's more than £200,000 a week, I do agree with you, it's pretty silly. It's pretty silly if it's more than £200,000 a week. But if it's not, I don't think it's too bad, mate. Remember, we're paying Sancho 300,000, Mason Mount's on 200,000 or 250,000, somewhere in that region. That's a joke. If you think about that, then Mbeumo, who's just scored 20 goals in the Premier League, 8 assists, is much better value for money than a lot of the Mounts we've got in our team. We've just got to get rid of that Mason Mount. It's almost impossible. Making a mockery of the number 7 shirt. I mean, I'd love to sell Mason Mount just to get that 7 shirt free again. You know, simply put, get him gone to free the 7, because he's an embarrassment to the 7. But actually, his wages are crazy. His injury proneness is annoying. And he's just a bang average player, isn't he? And now that we've signed Mbeumo and Cunha, there's going to be even less chances for him. So, man, he's a player I'd love to see sold. Don't think it's going to happen. I mean, Amorim reportedly likes him. Mason Mount probably is quite happy with his contract at Manchester United. And he strikes me as the sort of fella that, being such an injury-prone, nice guy, is the sort of guy that might maybe not really care too much about even playing week to week. Probably quite happy just playing second, third fiddle, you know, coming in every now and then as and when he's needed and collecting that fat pay packet. I'd like to think that he goes somewhere else to better himself. Remember, Mason Mount is another one of those players that should be trying to get in the England setup for the World Cup. What's the matter with these frigging players? If I was Mason Mount and we're just signing Mbeumo and Cunha and these guys, and you know, I'd be like, what's going on, boss? What's going on, boss? When am I going to play? Bruno's not going. When am I going to play? You know, but it seems like a lot of these players are just content taking massive money and not even caring about playing in World Cups and stuff like that, a la Sancho, etc. It's a shame, isn't it? I'm not saying that about Mason Mount to the same degree. Mason Mount seems like a nice fella, actually. But all I'm saying is, if I was him and Man United are signing all these players in my position, man, I'd be a little bit concerned about it. I wouldn't want to be playing second fiddle or third fiddle at this stage of my career when he's in his prime and he's trying to get in a World Cup England team that's literally happened next summer. So, you know, it's maybe a lack of ambition from players like this. But if he does go, then fair play to him. You know, but at the moment there's not really any links, is there? Problem is, trying to sell Mason Mount is very difficult. It's not the easiest sale. His wages are now astronomical for the player that he is. We'd be embarrassed to receive what he's actually worth compared to the 60 million that we paid for him, because you'd probably be lucky to get 25, 30 million for him at the moment. would United want to even be seen losing out so much? And then, who's going to pay him the wages? So, there you go. Mason Mount, he's a hard sell. We're stuck with him, sort of. But if I was him, I want to try and fashion a move away. Casemiro, Rashford, Sancho are on insane money. They'll be difficult to sell. Spot on. You're not wrong, lad. You're not wrong. Why is it so silent? Where is Mbeumo? It's being worked on, lad. It's being worked on. Should hopefully be today, if not tomorrow, lad. You know, it's only a couple of days left before the window shuts for a small time. So, should be in the next day or two. Keep the faith, lad. In the famous words of John Bon Jovi. Keep the faith, my friend. Keep the faith. How many does he score next season? Who are we talking about, Blue Sky, lad? Sorry, are we talking about Mbeumo? Okay. Mbeumo, for Manchester United, ideally, is going to score 18 Premier League goals. 18 Premier League goals. I think that's a reasonable amount. Get your thoughts in, guys. How many goals does Mbeumo score for Man United? I'm going 18. He scored 20 this year for Brentford. The only reason I say less, really, is because if United do get Gyokeres and we've got Cunha, it's like those goals are obviously going to be shared amongst them. And then you still got players like Bruno. You know, you still got all that sort of thing going on. Penalties will be still taken by Bruno as well, won't they, more than likely? So the goals will be shared around a little bit more. Cunha might get 15 and Mbeumo might get 18. Gyokeres, if we sign him, might get 25 or whatever. That's what you'd hope. So I'm going to say 18 in his first season. That's 2 less than what he got at Brentford this season, just gone in the Prem. So I think that's kind of realistic. Obviously, it's going to take some time to settle in. New system, new manager, new surroundings. But certainly think that you know, he will have a good season because he looks a really good player. He's a hard-working player. He's not a player that I'm worried about coming in and not hitting the ground running. He is Premier League proven. Plus, he's also a hard worker. I'm not worried about him coming in and being lazy either. He just seems like he's a very dedicated, committed player, and that's what we need. 15 goals. Yep, fair play. Yep. 10, says Indy. 15 would be good. 15 to 20. 18, 15. And Mbeumo could score 15 to 20 goals. It's a tricky one. Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a good point, Stuart. The weight of the shirt at United, the extra added pressure. I mean, we finished well below Brentford. I think that has to tell you something that happened in Manchester United's team this season. You know, we are having problems. We're expecting a big change with the different signings we're going to make and different personnel going out. But you are right, mate. Like, it's a different animal, isn't it? The pressure at United is severe compared to others, and the pressure starts to mount once things aren't going your way as well. So it could be tough, but I think he's a very good player. I think he'll do all right now. I'm not too worried about him coming in and bottling it, to be fair. Oh, all right then, Mattis, lad. All right then, Mattis. Yeah, fair enough. You got yourselves a good player there. I rate him. I rate him. Good signing. Fair play to you. Ronaldo says, from all on-sale players, 4 of them is wingers forwards, Rashford, Ante, Sancho, Garnacho. We must sign at least 3 new winger forwards to replace them. We must act quicker. All other clubs do that. Thing is, Ronaldo, yes and no. There's a reason I think we're selling those sorts of players. Because they don't really fit properly in Amorim's system. Like, what's going to happen to Garnacho? He's better as a conventional winger, I think. Same with Rashford, right? Definitely same with Anthony. And the same with Sancho. All of those players you mentioned are more conventional wingers to play in like a 4-3-3 or something. You know, they're not players that are really designed. I know that essentially if you're playing a 3-4-2-1, at times the two, they're going to go wide. They're going to essentially be wingers as well, you know. But actually, it's not their natural position. They're not the best at it. They're better wide. They're better with more space. They're better running up defenders. So they don't have as much time and space in that area. You need people with real nice little abilities with technique, technical passing, all that sort of stuff in their vision. You need a bit more of that. That's where good players like Bruno, Xerxes, Mbeumo, and obviously Cunha, these guys are going to come in and do the job. So essentially what we're doing is we're getting rid of those conventional winger players, and we're signing a couple of players in Mbeumo and Cunha who can play more so that number 10 role for us as well, who are going to be able to score goals, create goals, and have that sort of bit of extra creativity and flair there as well to do the job, compared to just being a conventional winger. Because Rashford would be a shit number 10, wouldn't he? Think about that. Rashford's a shit number 10. Garnacho has got more about him there. He's played a lot there for us this season, but it's not his best position. It's not the best that I've seen. He was better playing for sort of like Erik ten Hag last season in a 4-2-3-1 with much more emphasis on being wide. So for me, Garnacho, Rashford, those guys, they don't actually fit Amorim's system perfectly anyway. So it makes sense to get rid of them and get players that do, which are where players like Mbeumo and Cunha come in. And then you've also got other players in the squad who can still play there. Xerxes, I think, is best positions there for us. Mason Mount, we were just talking about him. He's probably not going anywhere. He's obviously still going to play there. Amorim seems to like him. Bruno Fernandes can still play there. Ahmad Diallo could play there. So I'm not overly worried about that, Ronaldo. I think we've got to get a wing back in. Like a right wing back or a wing back. We've got a left wing back. We've got Diego Leon coming as well. We've got Dorgu. We need some sort of another wing back. Yes, Dallo and Mazraoui, those guys can play. Those guys can also play either side. But I still think, maybe if we need a player, it's probably a wing back. Somebody that can, to get forward, create, but also defend for us on the flanks there. Axelinator says 15 goals. Alex says 23. I like your style. I think he's just trying to get a big contract with them, really, Agrippa Chinhara, mate. You never know. There are reports, maybe Inter, some teams over in Italy interested as well. Look, United should break the bank to bring Donnarumma, and I know we talked about wage structure, but he is actually awesome. If we could get him in, then what a problem solved that would be. But that's not going to happen, is it, mate? He is better than Martinez, I know, but we're not going to get him, mate. He would be crazy to join Man United right now. He's just won the bloody Champions League. Imagine leaving and joining Manchester United, who just finished 15th. He would be insane. Thank you, Smile YT, for subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you, my lad. Do what he's done if you're new. Give us a subscribe, guys. We're on our way to 91,000 subscribers. Help us get there and get yourself involved. Yep, and Mbeumo suits Amorim's plan as he needs more players that are comfortable with ball possession. Precisely, he needs those players who are better with, like you say, possession of the ball in those tight areas where, you've got obviously in between the channels, essentially in between the defence, in between the midfield, the opposition team. There's a definite difference between a winger like Rashford who can run at players and uses his pace to cause problems and, takes people on and gets shots off and all that sort of stuff. Big difference to that than somebody like a Bruno Fernandes who can play, who can pass, who can create, who can those little flicks through, the little through balls, all that sort of stuff. You need players who are better at that, in that position in Amorim's system. And that's why it makes sense to actually move on those sorts of wingers, the Sanchos, the Rashfords, the Garnachos, the Antonys, move them all on. Because Anthony's another one. Anthony can't play right wing back for us, can he? He's more of a conventional winger, like in a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3. He's the classic for cutting inside and shooting and all that sort of stuff. He's not ideal for what Amorim's trying to do at all. He doesn't work as a 10. He's only got 1 foot, for peak's sake. So he doesn't work as a 10. Good point though. I think it's it's important we strengthen in certain areas because we are going to be losing players. But I wouldn't say we need to get another winger in necessarily. Not necessarily anyway. Okay, right, let's just check, see if there's any more updates from anyone here on social media. Thank you, everyone, for getting in here. We're nearly at 200 likes as well. Appreciate all you absolute legends for joining. We're going to just check, see if there's any new updates very quickly in regards to this current situation with Mbeumo or anyone. Speaking of goalkeepers, actually, before we do that, we have got a few links and stuff, like we're linked with where is he? Milinkovic-Savic we're still linked with. However, AC Milan apparently now interested in Torino goalkeeper Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. The relationship between Milan and his agent is excellent. He has a release clause of 20 million euros. Napoli, Manchester United and Roma still have interest in the keeper. Smash a 1 in the chat if you'd like to see Milinkovic-Savic come in. I still would favour Martinez because he's got that Premier League experience myself. But this guy is a unit and he could be good, but I still would prefer that Premier League experience, and we know what we're getting with Emi Martinez. We've seen a lot of him. He's a shithouse. There's still that possibility of us potentially going for Martinez as well. But Savic, there you go. There is a link there, but it looks like maybe AC Milan leading the chase for him, which is a bit frustrating. And then also on top of that, Mike Mainan, Chelsea have made their 15 million euro valuation of Mike Mainan clear. This is via Ben Jacobs, and the Milan goalkeeper's keen on a move. Nothing agreed yet between clubs. A deal Chelsea are prepared to do in time for the Club World Cup, but Milan's asking price would need to drop to make it happen. So they're trying to get him for dirt cheap. I mean, we could definitely do a lot worse than Mike Mainan as well. But at the end of the day, it's not realistic, is it? Again, we don't have the Champions League football. Chelsea are in for him who do. But he's cheap. He's quite cheap as well. But again, I would rather have Premier League experience. Good to see you too, Robert Hewer. What's happening, lad? We should get Pickford. We could do worse than Pickford. I.e. Andre Onana. But again, Pickford's just not really top tier, is he? He's not top tier, mate. Very good for England. He's not top tier. Yes, excellent, Nater. I'm with you, boss. Get Martinez, Premier League proven. So to give you the latest update on that, not really much of an update. Just still expected that he will be leaving Aston Villa this summer, and he's keen to go for whatever reason. I don't really know why. Why does he want to go? It's bizarre, but there are reports that suggest he wants to go. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up signing a new deal, though, to be fair, because surely if Villa are in their right mind, they'd want to keep hold of him. And also, it's not like he's got really any issues about playing regularly or, the status of the team. Aston Villa, good club. They're in, they've been doing well with Emery, European competitions, all the rest of it. So I don't really see him really wanting to leave to Manchester United right now. But apparently he does. If it's about the money, then maybe he just wants more money. Let's face it, Aston Villa can't pay the right sort of, or the same sort of money that Manchester United could pay. Especially when you actually think about how much Manchester United are crying out for a goalkeeper right now. Like, we are prepared to pay good money to somebody who could come in and just solve that problem for us right away. Like an Edwin van der Sar situation from Fulham. If we could get that Emi Martinez goalie in, he probably is going to get very well paid at Manchester United, maybe more so than what he could at most other clubs, to be fair. Certainly Aston Villa. So that's a big reason, I suppose. I don't like us to just bring in players just because they want the money. But also you have to remember that these players will think of United as a huge football club. Even though we're struggling, we still can get back to being a very good side in a short space of time if things go well. We've talked about a big window and what it could do for us. Getting rid of Sancho, Rashford, Højlund, Onana, Anthony, all these sorts of guys, and replacing them with good players, which we're in the process of doing. If we do that, we could be a very different side next season. There's still the possibility we could get up there and get in European places and all that sort of stuff. So we're not like a team that's it's impossible to sign players still. We're still a massive football club with great history, and we're making strides in the window, and this is only going to encourage people to want to sign for us as well. Emi Martinez is better. I'm with you, boss. I'd like to see him come in more so. Martinez loves the whole profile fuck up, not for me. Yorkshire Cowboy, howdy lad. Yeah, fair enough. He is a bit eccentric, bit error prone, but he almost makes, Andre Onana makes him look solid as a rock, to be fair. That's the difference. He's much less error-prone than Andre. He has had a few mares. I mean, even in the last game of the season against us, he had an absolute eccentric calamity, rushed out, clattered one of our players, and just got sent off and gifted the game to us, pretty much. That's the sort of guy he is sometimes. But he's also a very good keeper. He does command the defence well, all that sort of stuff. Luke CX, what's going on, you absolute legend? I hope you're well. Thank you so much for getting in here, lad. If Andre Onana still become our number one goalkeeper, no matter how many new players we buy in other positions, it'll be a disaster for us. I'm with you to a degree. Ultimately, if we get better players in the team, it's going to be better for us, isn't it? Surely we should be able to get better results and play better, even with Andre in goal. But I also agree that we're just not going to unlock our full potential with Andre in goal. He's too melty. He's too much like a hashtag Taibbi melt. He's too much of a hybrid version of Roy Carroll and Mark Bosnich. He's good, he's decent, but he's not good enough, and he's error-prone, and you're never going to have a solid base to build on with him. So yeah, I'm with you there, boss. Get somebody else in who can give us that solid base. It's very important to have a solid base. If you want to be one of the best teams in the world, you need one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Facts. You can't be a ridiculously great team with a shit goalkeeper. You just can't. You can be a decent team, but you can't be a great team with a really shit goalkeeper. That's why Manchester United over the years have constantly changed our goalkeepers looking for somebody who's not shit. We did it under Fergie post-Schmeichel. We had to try a bunch of goalies before we got Edwin, didn't we? We've tried a lot of goalies at Manchester United. We tried Taibbi, we tried Barthez, we tried Carroll, we tried Bosnich, we tried Howard. Lots of different goalies we tried before we could get who we needed. And David De Gea obviously was the player that came in to end that as well and give us a good solid base for 10, 11 years. And that's what you need to be a good team. That's what you need. And yeah, we just need to find our next top goalkeeper, really. just for a few years. Doesn't need to be somebody who's young, who's got 10, 12 years for them to offer us. No, just get somebody in for a quick fix. Get somebody in with Premier League experience who's a top keeper, who's in their primes, who's ready to do the job for a few years for us. And that is where a player like Martinez would come in, or maybe a Costa, or, whoever. Thank you, Luke CX, for your question. He says, Piggy, what's your take on our wing-backs? Do we have the right quality to effectively play Amorim ball? Yes and no, mate. You know, in my opinion, we don't. It's another position in the team there where we don't have like world-class players. Sadly, we've got good players, but we don't have world-class players there. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have these Carvajals, these Dumfries, these sorts of players, or just whoever. There's lots of obviously great wing backs, but for us, Dallow's okay. Mazraoui, I think, is very good, but you know, he is very good. But is he Hakimi levels? You know, is he going to be doing what Hakimi does? Probably not. You know, let's be real. Like, we don't quite have those guys. We don't have a Dennis Irwin. We don't have a Patrice Evra. So it is a concern. I like Dorgu. From what I've seen from him so far, there's great potential. But if we're being honest, he's definitely nowhere near world class at the moment, is he? Same goes for Dalot. Same goes for Mazraoui to a lesser degree. But yeah, Mazraoui. It's like, we don't know. That is a problem area for us, definitely. You could see Ahmad Diallo, you know, like Axel Anasis just said there. You could see Ahmad Diallo do a very good, effective job for us as an attacking wing-back. He's so good at creating danger down the right and cutting in, and just an absolute terror. And he also has got great vision and passing and all that sort of stuff. He's very good. So he can do a good job for us as an attacking wing-back. But I am a bit concerned about him for the defensive duties required as well. He's a little bit small, gets pushed off the ball a little bit easy, that kind of thing. But definitely as an attacking player, fantastic. Dalot is kind of good at everything, but not great at anything. And a bit melty defensively. He's kind of good going forward. You know, again, good squad player, but not up to it. Dorgu, I feel sort of the same about him at the moment. Hopefully my opinion changes on that soon. So, yeah, I think it's very important that we bring in a wing-back this summer transfer window, like a top wing-back. I don't know what United could manage to do, but somebody like a Denzel Dumfries would fit the bill lovely, in my opinion. You know, physical, a goal threat, creative, but also solid defensively, you know, better, obviously, you know, in terms of getting forward and creating danger and all that sort of stuff. But I think we do need to bring in somebody really good like that, yeah. So my take on it is we are a little bit light in those areas, and it's a bit of a concern, yeah. But it's not as much of a concern as, you know, getting a striker or getting a goalkeeper. We still have to prioritise those positions before we can really, improve. Mate, Solitude Guard, thank you so much, Solitude Guard, for getting in. He says, thanks for the stream, Pig, got to head out. Mate, thank you so much for getting in here, Solitude Guard, lad, I appreciate you. Hang on, my chat's just shat it a second. Give me una momento, por favor. I'm still in the process of checking the latest updates as well. Nothing there from Fabrizio at the minute, apart from Ryan Aït-Nouri, new Manchester City player, player on a 5-year contract. That's been done. Gash, whatever. They're making strides. Okay, we've got another update here from Marco Alcaraz during the show. It just says United recognise that delayed signings in previous seasons have disrupted pre-season preparations, affecting training and tactical cohesion. Determined to avoid a repeat, the club is prioritising swift recruitment this summer, aiming to secure key additions early to give Ruben Amorim the best possible foundation for the upcoming campaign. Looks like that is what's going on. We are trying to get these players in early, aren't we? I think once we've finished with Mbeumo, we'll be looking to get the deal done for Gyokeres reasonably soon after that. Probably, you know, over the break and in time for when the break gets finished and the transfer window opens again. So, yes, there you go. There's nothing else, I don't think, here that's too much pressing information. If anybody sees any big, like, here we go updates from anyone, like legit stuff, do let us know. Right, I'm going to get into the chat now for a Q&A, guys. Thank you, everyone who's listened to me waffle on for nearly an hour. But we're going to get into the chat now. Before I do, I'm just going to shout out everyone that has reposted us on X there. Thank you, everyone who's reposted us at the top of the live chat. Big ups to the Dons in the chat. Actually, hang on a second. We go over here. Live chat overlay. 1 second, folks. I can't multitask. I can't multitask at all. There it is. Right, okay. Now we've got the chat back. Patrick Dorgu has limited skills. It's actually not working, is it? Oh, there we go. There we go. Wait, hang on a second. Let's update that. Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Right, thanks for being patient there, guys. Patrick Dorgu has limited skills. He must improve defence skills, passing many more. I agree. He looks good early doors, but he doesn't look sensational. He's got potential, hasn't he? But so did Malacia, and Malacia's gash. Yeah, exactly. Probably announce it Monday. Thank you, Alex Moore. Appreciate you, my friend. Yeah, Dorgu's solid defensively, wins his duels. I like his athleticism. I like him in get up and down. I like his physical. You're not wrong. He needs to add other facets to his game, but there's definitely a potential for a good player in there. And Mbeumo Monday, 100%. Yeah, definitely. I think if it's not today, which it probably will be today, my humble opinion is today. If not, then tomorrow. Yes, the transfer window closes for a little while on the 10th, so it should be done by then. Spurs are a shambles, worse than us. Well, they are in a lot of ways, yeah. 22 losses in the Prem, but they also did manage to win the Europa and get the Champions League football. Nah. They're not doing that, mate. There's no way Spurs are going to convince him to go there. Even with Bryan Mbeumo, having that relationship there with Thomas Frank, there's just no way. I can't accept it. Spurs are too Spursy, lad. Plus, it's the finances actually involved that make me think that the deal won't happen. If Spurs were the type of club to pay bigger money and pay bigger transfer fees, I would actually think they could pinch him, yeah. Because let's face it, Thomas Frank has just been managing him. Spurs do have Champions League football. That's two massive pluses for Spurs. Even though he's not through the door yet, if Spurs wanted to, if Thomas Frank wanted to, he could obviously have that conversation with Levy and say, by the way, United are about to sign Mbeumo. Let's pinch him. I'll give him a cheeky little call. You get the 60 million quid ready, and let's get that 150,000 a week deal done, and we'll bring him in. Nice one. That could happen, couldn't it? But it's Spurs. Spurs don't pay a lot of money. Manchester United are paying potentially 62.5 million, somewhere in that region for this guy. I just don't see Spurs paying that for Mbeumo. That's the reality. Maybe they could, but I just really don't see that happening. We are paying a significant amount to Brentford for this guy. The deal's almost done. So from Brentford's point of view as well, you know, they probably just want to get this deal pretty much wrapped up now before this little window closes. And then also from Spurs' point of view, well, they haven't actually got their new manager in yet. They could quite conceivably have had the conversation to maybe get this guy in ready for this guy, Thomas Frank. But I don't think that's very realistic, guys. It's Spurs. It's Spurs. Spurs are Spursy end of the day. Spurs need to try and keep hold of some of their players right now. Like I said, if I was Son, with what's happened and them sacking off Big Ange and him just winning a big major trophy, I'd be looking to leave this summer. So they need to try and keep hold of their best players to begin with. Stuart says, why would you choose no European football over Champions League? Well, Stuart, because you're looking for the long-term picture. You're not looking at the short-term. Ask yourself this question, Stuart. If Spurs hadn't won that Europa League final, when do you think... do you think anybody would want to go to Spurs? No, they did win it and they are in the Champions League, but does that make them a Champions League standard team? It doesn't. They're going to get done up in that competition this season, lad. No, it doesn't make them that standard team. Plus also, you think about it, they haven't won a trophy for 17 years before that. If you're telling me who's the bigger club, United or Spurs, I don't care if they've just won the Europa final against us and got Champions League. It's not close. It's not even close. Manchester United wins things, even when we're shit. Last season won the FA Cup, season before League Cup, got to a Europa League final. This is what we do. We're a big club. Spurs win one trophy every 2 decades and think that they're actually decent. Come on. Most players know going to Spurs is career suicide. Not just financially compared to some other moves you could potentially make, but also in terms of what you're actually going to win. Look, Harry Kane had to go to Germany to win something, lad. Finally, Son and co, they've been there for years slogging away. They finally managed to get that trophy. But you best believe it's going to be another 20 years probably till they win anything else. No joke. Whereas United, if things go well, if we recruit well, if we are managed well by Amorim, if everything goes well, we've actually got the potential to win the Premier League in the next few years. Potentially. I'm not saying we can. We don't know what's going to happen. But there's potential. Spurs, on the other hand, Spurs are Spurs. Enough said. Thank you very much, Dad Salford. He says, smash the like if you think Onana is gash. There you go. We're going to get a record amount of likes now. Thank you so much, Daz. We're actually on 234 likes. Big up all the likers on the video. Thank you so much for tuning in, liking the stream, etc. And thanks for joining us, everybody. We're on our way to 90,400 subscribers. We're only 38 subscribers away. I'll ask you one more time. Hit the subscribe button down below if you're new. If you're in here, what we do is we cover all the United news. We have a great community vibe, great community chat here every single stream. We'll also keep you up to date with all the latest goings on little bits and bobs with short videos and stuff. So if you're interested, subscribe. It's free. And get yourself involved by clicking the bell icon, and that way you'll receive notifications when we go live. I'm just going to shout out everyone on X, guys. Thank you to the legends on X who reposted us at the top of the live chat there. Appreciate you. We've had 8 shares. Thank you so much to all you legends. Big ups to the Butcher of Manchester, Sanjay Ramatar, Brandon Morton, Javier, get in there, my son. Davik Tapper as well. John Boy Cat, The Goat, Richard Wisterpeck, and Aaron Homeyard. Really appreciate you legends for sharing the show around. Thanks so much. Okay. Let's get more into the chat here. Berber says picking Spurs over United. It's like picking Katie Hopkins over Dua Lipa. So accurate. That's so true. That's a good one, lad. Absolutely. It is. You'd be pretty foolish to do so, wouldn't you? Tommy says, sorry, bro, but Mbeumo will be going to Spuds. A little bit too late, I think, maybe for them. I'll tell you what, I will start to get very concerned if this mini transfer window that's open for 2 days shuts and he's not been announced. Then I would actually start to believe that he's going to Spurs. But until that happens, mate, he's coming to United. You know, the agreement's in place. He's agreed wages. We pay more wages than Spurs as well. He's agreed to come. He wants to come. He's apparently turned down offers from other clubs earlier on anyway. Teams like Arsenal, Newcastle. You know, so why would he want to go to shitty Spurs, mate? Just because his mate Thomas Frank's going there? I don't believe it. You know, not when there was offers on the table from the likes of Arsenal and Newcastle as well. He said no. He said he wanted United, probably because, let's face it, United's begging for him. United probably is offering him more money than anyone else out of those teams as well. So, he's coming to United, lad. Pointless for any player to base their decision on a move to a club just for UCL unless they can win it. United will return to the top again, so get on board. Precisely, who wants to play in a shitty group stage for a few games? You know, Gyokeres might as well stay at Sporting if that's going to be the case. You know what I mean? Spurs aren't going to progress far in the tournament. So who wants to just be, you know, actually I say shitty group stage, not even a group stage anymore, is it? But you know what I mean. Like, who wants to just be a participant? Exactly, you want to play for a club that's got a chance of doing well. And also challenges for other trophies domestically as well. Thank you, MK United, for subscribing. I appreciate that, you legend. Have a good Sunday, everybody. You too, Venny VD. Thank you so much, mate. We'll be sticking on here a little bit longer just to cover the latest news, if anything drops very quickly. But end of the day, there's not too much going on. I'll just do a quick rundown of what's happened today. So, by the way, Sancho links with West Ham. We've got Garnacho links with Aston Villa. We've also got Garnacho links now, believe it or not, to Al Nassr. But this is from The Sun, so it's probably toilet paper worthy. But Alejandro Garnacho has been told he can find another club, and Al Nassr hope a chance to join his hero. Cristiano Ronaldo tempts him. If he goes to Al Nassr, he's a bigger dick than I thought he was. Come on, Garnacho, lad. Anyway, he can't go to Al Nassr. That's crazy. Imagine chasing the money and going to Al Nassr and playing for Al Nassr in the Saudi League when you're 20. Fuck that. He can't do that, mate. He's got to have a career in Europe first. That'd be ridiculous. Also, Arsenal, close on an agreement with Sesko, increases the likelihood that, you know, they're not going for Gyokeres. That's obviously important for us. So let's hope Arsenal get that deal done with Sesko. As we've discussed, there are reports Tom and Frank wants Mbeumo. We're not getting into that right now. I don't think it's likely. Reports are 150,000 to 200,000 a week is what we are paying Mbeumo. And also, finally, the other thing we've discussed today is Rasmus Højlund says that he's got a contract till 2030 and he'll be looking to stay and play. But obviously, Man United are probably going to be working on moving him on. Right, let's read a few comments out then, guys. Then I'm going to wrap this stream up. But big ups to you absolute legends. We will be back on later. We've also got the UEFA Nations League final watch along tonight, so please do join us for that a bit later on. Thank you, Stephanie, says like, subscribe and comment. Thank you, Stephanie. Spurs melts in for Mbeumo now. What you saying there, Matthew Smith? Where's that coming from, lad? They'll be out of the UCL by Christmas. Spurs are hardly appalled. Precisely. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not going to go there just because Spurs got 1 year's of pass in the early part of the Champions League. You know, they finished 17th and lost 22 games. Those are the facts. I know new coach, new approach could be different, but you wouldn't choose Spurs over Manchester United just because they lucked their way into the Champions League and they're just going to melt. When a player is keen to join a club, he cannot be hijacked in most cases. There you go. Sean Højlund has come out saying he expects to stay with us. I know. That's it. We were just talking about that. It's crazy, isn't it? Well, he's got a contract, 5 years. Could you imagine giving him what must have it been? A 6-year contract, 6-year, 7-year contract, something crazy. If he's got 5 years left. Yeah, And Mbeumo to United, 100% nailed on. I like your style, Daz. Is that not overly different to Gyokeres to Man United 15th in the league? No European football and coming because of Amorim. You've got me there. You've got me there, X-Man. But at the moment, nobody else is coming in for him, are they? If they are, let's face it, if Barcelona came in for him, I'd expect him to go to Barcelona. So I do feel that is the case. If Arsenal were to go in for him, I'd thought that he would go to Arsenal. But thankfully, Arsenal going to Sesko. But you know what I mean? It's a good point you make, X-Man. It's a great point you make. Swap Garnacho with Son, just saying, yes, lad. Now you're talking. That would actually be a great move for all concerned. We could get Son for a couple of seasons. Obviously, he's getting on. It wouldn't really have any sort of resale value for us whatsoever. But we'd be getting one of the best players in the league. And they would have a great player for a decade, potentially. So it's actually not a bad idea, mate. I'd do that. Wearing that badge and jersey for 35 mil, Dorgu has to deliver every game. Can't be slacking. He was a nobody. Hey, fair enough. I wouldn't say every game. I'd say half the games he kind of had a bit of a passenger of a game. The other half he was pretty good in, I felt. But it's still early in his United career. You've got to give him a chance to develop. And Mbeumo isn't going to Spurs. He's going to come to us. Yes, B&G Darts. G'day, mate. A lot of news over the last few days, eh? Yeah, it's all going off. It's all going off, mate. Manchester United signing players. Basically, it's because there's a little transfer window that's open at the moment and it shuts on the 10th. So there's like a good few days of just hectic transfer dealings, Nice one, Mad Alf. G-Wolf loves Højlund. Does he? Genghis, let's go. Yeah, Dorgu's 20 million, nowhere near 35. Asensio, I actually rate Asensio myself, but it's not going to happen, is it? But it's not. There's no links. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. But why would you keep Gash Flubberhands? We're not trying to keep him, mate. Surely we're trying to move him on. Højlund is your striker. He won't leave. He would leave if there's an opportunity for him. If we sign Gyokeres, he's not going to get much game time, is he? If he wants to better himself, if he wants to prepare himself for Denmark and everything, he's going to want to play football, mate. I think he would leave. But I just think maybe quite likely that it would be loaned out for a year just to test the waters. Maybe there's a team out there that wouldn't want to commit to buying him right now based on the last couple of seasons he's had. But also could be a good opportunity for us to maybe give him a chance to prove himself again and maybe continue to develop elsewhere. Yeah, you were on, were you, X-Man? Oh, right, yeah. Good morning there, Cavs Highlights, what's going on? How are you getting on? Onana out, 100%, lad. Dorgu will shine next season. Legends. Right, guys, listen, we're going to wrap this stream up. We've been on here for an hour and 7 minutes. That's just a bit long, isn't it? Let's wrap this stream up there anyway, but thank you so much for tuning in and watching and getting involved with the chat. Great community chat as always. Look, we're expecting that it's going to be Mbeumo today. If not today, going to be tomorrow. And then after that, we'll be turning our attentions to Gyokeres. And we're still working on players out. Garnacho, Rashi, Sancho, Anthony, Højlund. We're still working on players out. So, and Onana, hopefully. So we'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the window. Thanks again for watching and having a chat with me, guys. Always great to conversate with you legends. Converse with you legends, always fantastic. Conversate's not a word. And discuss everything Manchester United. So thank you for joining in as always, guys. Big up the mods, Daz, Salford and Co, Berber, Gavs and everyone who's got in here. Big up the mod squad. Big up the members in the chat as well, the legends in green like William Reedy, the Yorkshire Cowboy, etc. Jamie Riley for being members, Daz and everyone. Thank you very much, members of the channel. And everybody for supporting the show. You're a bunch of legends. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Kick at Flying Pig United. Check out the website, flyingpigunited.com. All the links are in the description to the socials and all that. And I'll see you on the next one. There will be probably another update at some point today. We'll jump on if there is any updates, some sort of concrete updates in regards to United. If not, we've got that watch along later, and we'll probably be doing the transfer news show straight afterwards as well. We'll see how we feel, and we'll see what news there is. But yes, thanks for watching, guys. That's the latest for the day. Not much to report on, really. We're just expecting Mbeumo very, very soon. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers, Luke. That's very nice of you to say. 12 hours straight. Yeah, you know it. Sid, Genghis, Venny, Robert, Aaron and everybody else, Michael, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. That's the end of the stream. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. And remember, Piggy loves you. And also remember, when the seagulls follow the trawler, this is because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you very much. Get in there, you beauties. Thank you so much to all the patrons here for supporting the channel on patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. As a thank you, all you legends will be appearing on this outro list. Get in there. Once again, thank you to all the YouTube members, but one of the best ways you can support the channel is on patreon.com, so check it out. Patreon.com/FlyingPigUnited. And once again, a big thank you to all the legends that do support the channel on Patreon. Get in there.